Stop. Whatever you're doing right now, stop. What I'm about to say isn't for everyone listening, it's for you, the one who felt that impact in your chest and couldn't explain it to anyone. Something happened to you. A betrayal, a break, a door slammed shut by someone who was supposed to hold the key. You spent months, maybe years, trying to understand why, but today something inside you simply went quiet. The cycle of pain has been interrupted. You're not fighting anymore. You're just watching. And I came here today to tell you exactly what that means. Over the course of this conversation, you're going to recognize the 5 signs that your worth was restored the very moment someone chose to lose you. You're going to understand why that betrayal wasn't a blow against your life, but a necessary realignment that removed from your path anyone who wasn't ready for your destiny. And before we finish, I'm going to speak a declaration over your identity that will seal your spirit against any future attempt to devalue you. Stay with me, because the revelation you've been waiting your whole life to hear is right here. You've been feeling that strange peace that follows the storm, haven't you? It's almost uncomfortable. You look back and expect to feel the anger, the hurt, the desperation that consumed you a few weeks ago. But what you find is a quiet emptiness, a clear intuition that the spiritual scales have finally balanced. It's not indifference, it's clarity. You realized, maybe yesterday, maybe during a night's sleep, that the loss wasn't yours. The mistake was theirs. The weight was theirs. And suddenly, you felt your own strength restructuring like a bone that heals stronger where it once broke. Your fingers typing those 3 digits are your spirit saying yes. It's the smallest agreement, but it's the most real. It's the frequency of transition, the number that marks the end of a cycle of scarcity and the beginning of your new start. Type 888, the number of abundance you no longer need to chase because it's now chasing you, and come right back to me. You might be wondering why you attracted this situation, why someone you protected so much, someone you cared for and prioritized, would be capable of stabbing you in the back. The answer is simpler and more painful than you think. You didn't attract the betrayal because of a flaw in you. You attracted it because your level of loyalty was too big for the container they could offer. You were pouring pure water into a cracked cup, expecting it to fill, and when it didn't, you blamed yourself. But this event was actually an alignment test. Life needed to remove that person from your path, so your frequency would no longer be limited by their fear, their insecurity, their constant need to tear you down to feel big. You were operating with an honesty they couldn't process. And the betrayal was the only way your system could force you to open the door and let them go. They think they gained an advantage. They think they tricked you. But they just lost the only person who truly saw the potential they themselves ignored. They made the mistake of underestimating your ability to rise again, and now they're discovering too late that the value you carried wasn't theirs to spend. It was yours, only yours. And the deepest part is, all this time you've been building something inside yourself that they never saw. While you were being overlooked, while you were being set aside, you were unknowingly cultivating a garden in your own dignity. The roots grew in the dark. Your patience wasn't weakness. It was the soil being prepared for a harvest they will never taste. Their betrayal only served to prune the dead branches from your life, so that in the next season you could bloom at a height they can no longer reach. You weren't discarded. You were released. The scales aren't tipping. They're level. What was lost wasn't what defined you. It was what held you back. Stay silent for a moment. Let that truth settle. There's no need to rush, no need to retaliate, no need for explanations. The silence you carry now is the language of power. You realize now that the time you spent crying was the gestation period for your new version. The betrayal didn't diminish you. It revealed you. It revealed who you are when everything is taken away, and you discovered with deep surprise that you're still whole, still strong, still capable of starting over. Their mistake was thinking you needed them to be who you are. But you never needed them, you just believed you did, and that lie, which lasted so long, ended today. You need to understand the vast difference between the loyalty you offered and the manipulation you received in return. Your loyalty was never an exchange contract. It was a state of being, an emanation of your own integral nature. You gave because that's who you are, without expecting the petty calculation the other party practiced. While you delivered your truth openly and without defenses, the other party saw your transparency as a vulnerability to exploit. They couldn't comprehend the purity of your intention, so in their attempt to dominate what they couldn't possess, they used manipulation. They created scenarios to keep you in doubt, spread shadows so you'd lose your own center, and drew a maze where the exit was always your silence, your submission, or your constant forgiveness for mistakes they never intended to correct. But today, that curtain has been pulled back. You're no longer looking at what they did, but at why you allowed it to happen for so long. You see now that what you called partnership was really a storefront where your value was constantly marked down so that the little value they had would seem in their eyes significant. They needed your light to hide their own darkness, and the betrayal was just the last act of desperation from someone who realized your light was getting too strong to contain. External manipulation only finds ground where there's a seed of doubt about your own worth. But that doubt is over. Imagine now, with all the clarity your spirit allows, that garden of your own dignity. During all the time you were neglected, while you felt invisible, while the words of disregard fell on you like stones on a path, you weren't standing still. You were creating a garden in the dark. Their neglect, without them knowing, was the perfect fertilizer for a strength they could never have foreseen. Like roots that seek water deep in the earth, your dignity grew strong in the absence of their recognition. You learned to nourish yourself. You learned to find beauty where nothing else grew. That garden is your sacred space, the place where your worth depends on no one, where your voice needs no approval, and where your peace is absolute sovereignty. Right now, feel that dignity expanding inside you. Let this declaration seal the recognition that illusion has no more place in your vision. Your awareness is now the guardian of your garden. By typing those 3 words, you are formalizing the closure of a cycle of blindness and the beginning of a clarity no one can take from you. Type those words calmly, feeling each letter, and then come back to me, because we still have far to walk. Betrayal, when seen through this new light, stops being a blow that wounded you and becomes a revelation of worth. Their mistake was underestimating your ability to be reborn. They believed that by betraying you, they were pulling the ground out from under you. But in truth, they only forced you to learn to fly. They lost access to your loyalty, your support, your vision, and your constant presence. They lost the only person who, even in the face of all evidence that they were undeserving, still stayed. Their mistake wasn't a defeat for you. It was the definitive loss of a treasure they lacked the maturity to manage. The weight of the loss now belongs entirely to them, while the weight of your freedom belongs exclusively to you. Don't see this as a command or a metric, but as a deep agreement between what has been named here and what you feel there. It's a seal of recognition, a way of saying that what has been exposed is real, is necessary, and is finally aligned with the truth. When you make this gesture, you're declaring that you are no longer hiding what you know, but honoring the clarity that now guides your steps. We are together in this crossing, and this noise-free agreement is proof that the message landed exactly where it needed to land. Your dignity, which grew in the dark, now demands to be seen by yourself, without needing external mirrors that try to distort the image of what you've truly become after everything you've lived. The process was painful, but the result is your sovereignty. And that sovereignty isn't asked for, it's recognized and inhabited. Right now, there's someone in your circle who desperately needs to hear exactly what we're dealing with here. Think of the person who, like you, has been working hard while watching doors stay shut, someone carrying a silent tiredness that no one around can explain, someone who cultivates a deep loyalty but has been forced to cross a desert of ingratitude. That person's face just came to your mind, not by accident, but by a spiritual resonance that goes by the name of recognition. Don't keep this revelation to yourself. Send this content to them. Don't do it like recommending a video, but like handing over a key. What has been revealed to you today is a ministry of healing that must be extended. If your spirit brought them to your awareness now, it's because you are the channel through which their clarity will arrive. It's a way of saying they are not alone, that the pain they feel is not a failure, but a preparation for the sovereignty they haven't yet realized they possess. Let the comfort you've received overflow, because the healing you offer others is the same that seals your own liberation. Take a deep breath now, letting that intention of service settle in the deepest part of your soul. What you went through, what you tolerated, and what you finally understood was not in vain. There is a seal that needs to be placed over this stage of your journey, a mark that defines who you are from now on, after everything that's been revealed. Don't write it like asking for a favor or expressing an uncertain wish. Write it like signing a sentence of reality. By typing those words, you are formalizing the pact between your consciousness and your new place in the world. It's the recognition that, despite every attempt to diminish you, you were preserved for a purpose that betrayal never had the power to touch. Feel the weight of those words as your fingers move. Each letter is a brick in the construction of your new identity. I am chosen. It's your declaration of spiritual independence, the period on the story where you were the victim, and the exclamation point on the chapter where you become the protagonist of your own dignity. You are committed to the truth that now lives in your chest. You are commissioned to live under the banner of this new clarity without looking back for validation from those who underestimated you. You are sent to carry this light wherever your path takes you, knowing that your loyalty now belongs first to yourself and to what is true, and no longer to the shadows you left behind. You felt the weight of disappointment, that coldness that runs down your spine when the mask of someone you loved falls to the ground, revealing a face you don't even recognize. But pay attention, because that recognition didn't come to paralyze you. It came to free you from a debt that was never yours. The betrayal you suffered is not a reflection of your insufficiency. It's the definitive proof of the size of your light. A light that bothered those who didn't have the courage to carry their own. You spent too much time trying to fix something that was broken long before you arrived, carrying the weight of promises that, from the very first moment, had no intention of being kept. And still, you stayed. You were loyal to the limit of what was humanly possible. If you're feeling that this pain that seemed infinite has begun to lose its breath, if you notice that that person's image no longer evokes hatred, but a nearly serene indifference, then understand what's happening now. You are crossing the portal from disillusionment into the realm of clarity. It's not forgetting, it's transmutation. You are realizing that the spiritual scales, which seem to have tipped unjustly against you, have begun to balance in a way that no one, not even the one who betrayed you, can interfere. That mistake that destroyed trust has now become the anchor that holds the other in their own insignificance, while you, unburdened, begin to float toward your true place. To mark this transition, to signal to the universe that you accept the closure of this cycle, I need you to make a simple gesture. 888 is the frequency of total renewal, the sign that stagnation is over. Your fingers typing those 3 numbers are the confirmation that you're ready to leave the baggage behind. Type 888, then come immediately back to me. The pattern that kept you trapped in this cycle of betrayal and forgiveness was a trap of loyalty. You believed that the more you sacrificed, the more you were proving the value of your character. But the truth is, you were only feeding a veracity that could be satisfied by no one. You were applying your capacity for giving, which is sacred, to ground that was already barren. They saw your integrity as a weakness to be exploited. They saw your readiness to forgive as a green light for relapse. And for a time it worked. But the alignment test you went through, which is now coming to an end, wasn't about them. It was about discovering that your dignity doesn't depend on anyone else's faithfulness. You weren't being tested to see how much pain you could take. You were being tested to see when you would finally stop shrinking yourself to fit into someone else's limited world. Your genuine loyalty, the one you guarded for so long, is now being redirected. Imagine for a moment a garden you cultivated inside yourself. While you were focused on removing the weeds from that relationship, the flowers of your own essence were growing in the dark, silent, resilient. They didn't need that person's light to exist. They only needed your attention. And today, you finally stopped looking at the locked gate and noticed the richness already blooming in your own backyard. This is your decree of departure from illusion. From this second on, you no longer view life through the filter of what was taken from you. You view life through the lens of what you finally recovered. That mistake committed against you wasn't a fatal blow. It was the event that forced you to become who you are today. It was the awakening, painful though it was, that prevented you from spending more decades living a lie. They discovered too late that the value you brought to their lives wasn't a privilege. It was a blessing they threw away. Now the scales shift. They carry the weight of their own disloyalty, and you carry the lightness of someone who has nothing left to prove. There is nothing to recover back there. The past is a graveyard of intentions that had no root. Your future, however, is virgin ground, and you are the only architect authorized to draw the foundations. If this message confirmed what your intuition has been whispering in the quietest hours of the night, let your like be your amen without words. Not as a number counter, but as a gesture of agreement, a spiritual seal that validates that what was said here found an echo in your inner truth. There is someone, maybe a friend, maybe a relative, someone you know who carries in their eyes the same silent fatigue of someone who has given everything and received nothing in return. That person, living the dilemma of trying to be faithful to a past that no longer exists, needs to hear what was said here. Their face is appearing in your mind right now, a face marked by hesitation and self-doubt. Send this content to them, not like recommending content, but like delivering medicine. The same providence that placed this knowledge before you today is now using you as a messenger for someone who doesn't yet have the strength to find the exit on their own. The realization of the size of their mistake doesn't arrive as a celebratory victory, but as an absolute silence that settles in your chest. It's a cold, almost surgical clarity. You look back and for the first time feel no need to understand the motives or hidden reasons behind the disloyalty that hit you. You simply see the architecture of their decision and understand that the calculation was wrong from the start. The one who betrayed believed they were taking away your safe harbor, when in truth they were only cutting the ropes that kept your boat from sailing into deeper waters. They underestimated your ability to rebuild because all along they saw you through the mirror of their own limitations, never understanding that your loyalty was a conscious choice, not a dependency. They discovered that the vacuum left by your absence cannot be filled by new illusions, because you weren't just a piece in their game, you were the whole board. Their mistake was thinking your value fluctuated according to their mood or attention. While they sought shortcuts in dishonor, you were being forged in a fire that purifies intention. Notice how your peace today is unshakable. That's not insensitivity. It's the sovereignty of someone who understood that the loss they inflicted on you was, in fact, your deepest liberation. They are trying to find in other places the quality of giving that was only possible when you were there. But it's too late. The source they despised no longer flows into their ground. Don't spend another second analyzing the strategy of someone who lost their own compass. Disloyalty is always a symptom of internal disorientation. The one who betrays isn't attacking you. They're running from themselves. You were the mirror they didn't have the courage to face because your reflection demanded a depth they don't possess. Now, the distance between you isn't just geographic or temporal, it's a distance of frequency. You vibrate at an octave their chaos cannot reach. Your current silence isn't a sign of defeat, it's the signature of someone who already understands that your worth is not something that can be negotiated or taken away by others. You remember how small the world used to feel when you were trying to fit into what they told you? Today, that same world feels vast, full of possibilities that were once hidden by the fear of losing something that deep down no longer served your purpose. The pain you felt at the start of the crossing was the price of your metamorphosis. Now that the dust has settled, you realize that every betrayal, every false move, and every door that slammed in your face were precise coordinates designed to place you exactly where you were meant to be. Where you are now, loyalty is a constant, and truth needs no defense. Hold this state of mind as your natural state. Don't go back looking for explanations. The explanations they owe you are irrelevant next to the clarity you already carry. Your life is a book that doesn't need the final chapter proofread by someone who never understood the story from the preface. You are the author, the protagonist, and the observer of a path that now opens without the shadows that used to haunt you. Their mistakes serve to illuminate your destiny, and it's on that destiny you must set your full attention from now on. Your dignity has been restored, not by what they did, but by the resilient way you chose to move forward without carrying the bitterness they dropped along the way. You are ready for what comes next, and what comes next looks nothing like what was left behind. If you feel that your soul has finally found the rest that the last few years denied you, know that this clarity is no accident. It's the result of a process that began long before the last disappointment. Sit with me for a moment, take a deep breath, and let this truth settle into the part of you that spent so long on high alert. The act of declaring this with your own fingers is the final seal you place on your own awakening, acknowledging that illusion no longer has any power over your sight. What they did, the mistake they made in underestimating your essence, has become the catalyst for your rise. You weren't betrayed by destiny. You were guided out of an environment that no longer sustained the frequency you operate on today. It's not about metrics, not about algorithms or numbers. It's your quiet recognition that the truth has been named and your heart agrees with it. There is someone in your life right now, a person whose face appeared in your mind as I spoke, someone who has also been walking with heavy shoulders, working in silence, carrying pains that no one around them can see. They need this comfort, not as a suggestion, but as a delivery. Send this message to them. Be the channel that brings the confirmation that their cycle too is about to break. Your role today is that of a messenger, making sure the other receives the light you've just integrated. Before we close, this is the moment to seal your identity. Write in the comments the words, "I am chosen."